Hello, everybody. Welcome. Roses Psychic Investing. So, guys, it's Wednesday, February 11th, and there's so much to talk about as usual. But this is a see. I hope it's not because I know sometimes. Sorry, I have to move this. This is the microphone I'm using at the moment. But how do I even start this? So, this is a subject I've been meaning to talk about this person for a while. And it's about Howard Lutnick. So he's the Commerce Secretary. And there's so much to discuss about this man. And how do I even, guys, he's so central to everything. And that's the protection, because it's a lot. Here I'm here at Rio de Janeiro office, and it's like 90 something degrees outside and humid. And here I am, layered, because it's very cold. And it's so interesting because I have this micro office here, and in the for some reason the private office area, it is so damn cold. Even where the phone booth is, it's not as bad, but over here it is cold. But anyway, I'm here too. That's why I'm explaining why I have this, winter gear. uh, so anyway, let's go back to the subject. What's the protection? I like to ask for protection, a beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I fill my lungs. As I breathe out, I create a circle. I create a circle. I step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources that I create the good and all the good. And so it is. So, by the way, I want to show you this. This is the whole, like the imagery of the Holy Spirit, right? It's this white dove. And it's a, what is the, how do you call it in English? Artesanato. That's crafts. It's a bit like, it's a bit more than crafts, but it's sort of like naive. I bought it at the design store because I had to go to this design store, whatever. The local IKEA-ish version, a little bit better than IKEA, but I got this, the Holy Spirit. I want to hang it here. It says made in Brazil. Tuckstock. Tuckstock is the Brazilian divine. That's right. So, okay, here is the art of carving. As a cultural manifestation. It was made in the town of Lagoa Dourada, Minas. The pieces from the Divine Collection reflect the beauty of regional crafts, representing iconographies that carry in themselves the greatness and meaning of handiwork and made in wood. So it's wood. But so I'm gonna hang here in the office. The Holy Spirit hanging out with me. Hello, yeah, hi Rosie, what's up? So anyway, no disrespect, just. But anyway, so let's this because I need help, the divine guidance, because truly it is a very dark situation. Now, two things about Howard Lutnick that of course you do know that he is very, very big in the files. There's a lot of information that tells us that yes, he's been involved in the actual handling of the girls, and there's more that I'll talk about a little bit about it now. But the thing that I'm most interested in, because we know that he's a PEDO abuser, right? Because he's very, very, very connected to EBS. They were neighbors and such. But what is most interesting to me is that he is the head of Cantor Fitzgerald, right? As you know, it's that firm that lost a lot of people on 9/11. And there's a conspiracy theory about him getting there late. But the point is not that part. It's the fact that he's involved in the crypto and bond market. Like, I have to tell you this, TMI, but I've been a whistleblower for something. And one of the aspects of the whistleblowing thing that I've always found very shady is something that's happening in the bond market. I can't give you all the details. But as we look into this, the relationship between Howard Lutnick, crypto, because he taught a lot, there's a lot that's in the files about crypto. And he has a lot of connections to Tether, which is this so-called, is it a stable coin? Whatever the weird word for it. But there's a lot of criminal characters involved in a stable, this Tether thing, and it's very close to Cantor Fitzgerald. And he gave a testimony in Congress where Elizabeth Warren asked him something, and he talked about bonds. I don't want to get into too much detail because that's not the point. But the point is that the thing that I did, I just want to tell you this, why I feel like he is the answer to the questions I have had for years about what was up in the bond market and what's the relationship between like the tech companies that do something called SPAC and the bonds connected to these companies. So that's very, very interesting to me because it explains the huge pump and dump. Like it's all connected. It's all part of one thing. But the financial part is the thing that's going to take everything apart. I feel like this thing with Howard Lutnick, like he guys, okay, you know what I got just now saying? Howard Lutnick is the chief money launderer. Like, can you imagine? This is huge because we know that the organized crime, especially as it's related to it has everything to do with money laundering. That's one aspect. I mean, there's human trafficking, right? There's all kinds of things, but their bread and butter is money laundering because they have to. How do they launder the proceeds of their crimes, right? I think there's also a lot of manipulation on the stock market, and the head of the Russian mob, Mogilevich, he is known to be a math genius. And before he was living in the US and before he got caught, he he was like swindling people in the stock market. There was, I forgot exactly, some sort of pump and dump. But the point is they're very good at math. And we know that there's a lot of math involved in pump and dumping the stock market. It's a very long story, okay, about this. I don't want to get into that either, the details like that. But all of the information I'm giving you now has to do with context for how big Howard Lutnick is in this scheme. So guys, I just added these screenshots because I wanted to give you context for the information I'm sharing. And I realized I do have to talk about it a little bit more. So this is an article from the New York Times on July 25th, 1999. And it's about how the Russian mob had infiltrated the stock market. And you could see from the tone of the article that to them it was the beginning. And so just to remind you guys that crimes related to the stock market and the Russian mob infiltrating the stock market goes back decades. And they have been improving that and doing that over and over again. And this is not this is a feature, not a bug, essentially. And I think, like I said, he's one of the abusers, but he has a very big role in this criminal organization, which is money laundering. Guys, and I really get Jeffrey like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, true. He's like, Jeffrey's like, And by the way, guys, I know some people believe that he's still alive. There's just AI photos that are going around and oh, it's just not at all. I never believe that. I think he's 100% dead for many reasons. And I don't want to engage in this. It's just BS. Whoever believes that, he's not, he's not, he is not dead, but they say it. But if you look at who is pushing it, Russia is pushing this. Why? Because they want people to stop looking, right? He's alive. So then they look elsewhere, okay? It's just BS from where I stand. I 100% believe he's dead and he's here, okay? He is here, it's like I said before, there was another video I did about this, the situation, interesting situation here about this. I asked before why he's coming in this form. But it's saying there's part of his mission that has to kind of undo the wrongs, but he's still going through the life review. It's going to take years, thousands of years, I think. Or I don't know if he'll ever recover, right? As a soul, he is so dirty and gross, so low. But that's why I think he's coming for me. Sometimes he appears and he's like gives the things up. And he's, why, okay, Jeffrey, why? He's like almost like sheepish. Why are you like this? I've never seen you like this. You're always such an asshole. Why the attitude? It's weird. He's just acting like, why are you acting like a schoolboy? I learned a lot from Howard. He taught me everything I knew. Wow. See, he's bigger than me because I didn't have a firm like his. He had a legit firm that did, wow, wow, wow. Jeff is like, damn, dropping the bombs. He's saying, Rosie, okay, just say it through me is just like Rosie. He was the head money launderer. Why? Because he had a firm that is still very well known in Wall Street that does a lot of legitimate business. But just like uh Bernie Madoff, he had, because Bernie Madoff actually had, less than Cantor, but he had a part of it was legit, and then most of it, the background was just total Ponzi scheme. But Cantor is a huge player in the bond market. And so as he has SPACs, and he's telling me, yes, Rosie, you're 100% right about the SPACs connected to them. Yeah, look, it's gonna explode, yes. And he's saying that, now back to Jeffrey. Cantor Fitzgerald is a huge firm, and it's saying half of it is legit. The other half is the dirtiest laundromat you'll ever see. And that is something that I never was able to do. I told myself a hedge fund, but as you know, all I did was get the men to go to these events, then blackmail them, transfer the money to Ralph, and transfer the money to others. And I was saying they got a big cut out of my business. But the main money launderer was Cantor. Damn. Damn. Oh my God. Wow, guys, I'm just like, wow. Because like I said, okay, wow, guys, this is like, because my financial thing. So I'm saying, please tell me what. So what was the issue with bonds that I was seeing, the particular case? What is going on with the bond market in that context? How do they pump and dump? What's going on? Okay, he showed me he's attaching an attachment to the company that goes public. And then they issue bonds. Now bonds, if a company issues bonds, that's essentially a form of like, it's like they take loans. Okay. So, right, they're selling part, you buy a bond, but that's how the company gets cash into their balance sheet. Okay. And then, okay, so tell me more. Then would issue what's the word? Dividends, right? I think there's a specific time when those things come due. Okay, so but by the way, I'm not a bond person. I don't know exactly. The bonds are complicated, famously. I don't know that much about the ins and outs of bonds. But let me go back here. So tell me, how did this corruption happen? Oh, wow. Wow. I got the answer. Damn. Wow. 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 So it's saying they would attach themselves to these sort of shady companies. The companies would then go public and issue bonds, right? That's that. And the person who gives you the money gets these bonds. So everybody knew the company was going to go bankrupt. So they took the debt. And what happened? Who made money doing what? So imagine if you knew exactly what was going to happen. He's saying you made money from the arbitrage of knowing the high and the low and getting the in between. Okay. CDOs, he's saying. Is that right? Let me look at. So guys, it's going in the direction that I really did not expect. So I thought I was going to talk more about Howard. That's it. Collateralized debt obligations were pivotal in the 28. Okay, packaging risky into complex securities. That's right. So, but how do they make money? They keep selling and reselling these things that they know are dead in the water. And they say, then they pump and dump to the weak people these things. And it's saying that there's something where he's saying he will issue, there's something about the bond coupons, they were fraudulent. I don't know exactly what that means. So how is that? Or what do you mean, Jeffrey, by bond coupons making it fraudulent? If you know the company is going down, the numbers were fake. The companies were going down. Saying that's why they had all the Bitcoin in the balance sheet, right? Remember? Because that was a way to fake a real business. Tesla did that. A lot of like shady companies did that. They're like, oh, my company, I'm really into Bitcoin. I put it in my balance sheet because I believe it. I believe Bitcoin. So wow, that's crazy. And it's saying this is a way to create volume. Guys, sorry, I know am I gonna get this out, but what does it have to do with Howard Lutnick again? And he shows me that this would create volume, and it was like this flow of money in and out, like almost roads, a lot of in and out roads to then stamp the money as legitimate. And it's saying he's saying each business area, let's say trafficking, where they would get the money from these men, would have a company attached to it, like it's a quote unquote a financial instrument. So you would say, let's say Purple Flowers, whatever company, the income would go into this company. And of course, it's the company doesn't make anything. It's fake. It's just a paper financial instrument. And then it would go, okay, that's right. It will legitimate oh, I see. Okay. So companies that were fake, the money came from organized crime, essentially, like their income, the balance sheet. And then is that right? Penny stocks, weird companies that would go public. And then they would actually, they're like, he's laughing, and they would make money. But in fact, the purpose of the company was just to launder. And the stock market was a way to get into this. So guys, I'm sorry, but I'm understanding a lot here. So in other words, let's go back to the big picture because it's very detailed now, Jeffrey. So now tell me about, again, Howard Lutnick. Rosie, he's just like Bernie Madoff. We had this fake company. There's a facade and there's a real, like the company that was laundering money. Tether is a big one. And is saying that they are afraid there was a headline that said that Trump is afraid to take down Howard Lutnick. Yes, because Howard Lutnick he keeps saying, is the number one launderer for them. So they need him and they need the company to succeed, because it shows me that this is like the money has to come into the financial system somehow. And Cantor Fitzgerald is how the money came in. Wow. See, of course, the children are doing all kinds of corrupt deals. It's very obvious, right? And it's straight up money laundering. And they're letting the Trump family in to their money laundering schemes. But wow. So that's why. And it's saying once they take Howard Lutnick, it's over. Once he goes down, because again, he knows all. And I see it. This is the weird. I've never, as long as I've been quote unquote contacting the spirit of Epstein, he's never been like this, sheepish even. And he idealizes the guy because he knew everything, and he was he was known to be a crook, but he was respected on Wall Street or somehow, or the firm was treated like it had a name, right? So, but it's saying again, tells me, Rosie, that's what, remember the mob in Las Vegas in the 50s or something. There was a business and they would do the books for the business, right? So there was a facade business and then there was underneath. So that's why. But anyway, he's saying once he goes down, the whole thing. It's like he's going to pull everything down. Crypto, the bond market, SPACs, everything. And this is a thing. You just have to get him. And I see, wow, I see him in prison. Then he has to, Howard Lutnick, and then he has to go into sort of witness protection. But then it shows me all these people dying. Like, I think the organized crime from that country off is going to go after the people to make sure they can't talk, right? So it's not just revenge, it's to ensure that there's silence. Wow, guys, this is like, whoa, it's honestly, I'm always like, oh, okay, I'm going to talk about this. And I kind of have an idea, but then like what? The stuff comes out and it's like, damn. Wow. Sorry, I'm here looking for lipstick. Somebody walk by. I don't think maybe they understand. They understand. For entertainment purposes only. Okay, no. Wow. So, okay, wow. And guys, remember how Howard Lutnick was? He's I actually even did I believe, maybe, I don't know. It's I kind of believe him or something. Like, oh yeah, I'm not. He said it on a straight face. Remember on some TV show that no, it's like really bad people in there. Wow. So, by the way, this reminds me, I need to talk about Trump and Elon's latest strategy shift. Where they're like, oh, the people that are close to Trump are like, Trump is the whistleblower. He is. What is APS? He whistleblower. No. But wow, guys, let me go back because I have to digest all these things that come up because it's unbelievable. So let me go back here. So tell me now, Howard Lutnick, that's right. He's the key person, the main person for money laundering. Rosie, that's why they were pushing crypto, because that's a way for them to get all their illegal money traveling the borders or whatever without nobody checking or knowing exactly where it came from. But okay, so if they want to do a separate scheme, why do they need Cantor Fitzgerald's? Because it's saying it shows me like a river coming. It's like it has to integrate into the other body of water in order to exit the basin or whatever you call it. So that's what Cantor did. It was the entryway, because it's saying you can have this money, but somehow you need to get cash. Crypto is just saying he's just wow. Jeff Epstein is showing me like, color pencils. You just like scribble, just make it up. And I was brilliant. And people fell for it. And he's like, people fell for it. It's just some number. It's just a little game. And there are so many marks in the world where they fell for it. Look at them. So that's why it's like, and I see him, he's like standing and he's like, look at them. It was that easy. And so that's why. So saying Cantor and Howard provided it shows me like a transfer scheme of some sort. That's why I say they needed banks, because they needed to exchange the imaginary number for real money, because that's the only thing that really matters. You know what I'm saying? So, and they're amazed at how well they seem to be doing. Because, by the way, and this is too complicated to explain, it doesn't necessarily matter, but because I've been following this crypto crap thing for years and years, I've always believed that was like a ridiculous, like money laundering, like BS, pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme, whatever. And then he's showing me that, in fact, because Tether is a stable coin that people supposedly use it to like buy Bitcoin with or something, there's a relationship there. But because they can literally like create all the money they want, they can also buy the Bitcoin with that stable coin, so that in that way they can manipulate the money, they manipulate the price in a way or another, right? So does it make sense? This is how crazy this is. People believe that, people fall for it, but it's just a completely highly 100% manipulated. So Howard Lutnick again at the center of it. So okay, wow, guys, it could be a little intense, but let's go back here. So wow. Okay, let me process this. Uh I don't know what to say. Yeah, I'll go back to the arrest of. So tell me, how does Howard Lutnick get arrested? Because it's showing me that once, like I said, guys, once he's arrested, it's over. Okay. So, wow. So tell me, how does the arrest? It's over, meaning the entire thing comes down. So how does he go down? How does Howard Lutnick go down? Okay, Trump falling. And I see that he's expecting to stay through with JD Vance because, again, he's a huge Peter Thiel was government for Peter Thiel, because let's just call it JD Vance what he is. Like, he's a puppet for it's Peter Thiel. So it's saying yes, he's gonna stay, he would stay around, but then he's like standing there looking, ha ha ha. And okay. And then he sees that, like, suddenly there's like an earthquake and he realizes like the building is crumbling, and he tries, guys, just like 9/11, but in the sense of like the reality, right? Crumbling everything he knows, and he tries to run. And then it's like the building falls, and then he's like walking, like pretending like he's not Howard Lutnick. Then he gets like, what are you doing here? We recognize you, sir. You're now you how no, I'm not. And they're like, no, yes, you are. So then they get him. It's funny, I thought he would have tried to escape. No, it's saying happens too quickly, and he's one of the big ones. Wow, okay. But why does he talk? And why does he not pass? Because I don't see him passing. Well, it's saying there's foreign countries who could be involved in grabbing him. So interesting. Wow. It's saying he has the key to like the money laundering thing. Okay. Wow. So guys, let me show you. I had separated this to show you because, and this is like, there's so much going on at all times, right? But this is so huge. This is a letter. Okay. It's like from the files. This is talks a little bit about Howard Lutnick. Okay. So FBI document alleging Howard Lutnick and Kendra Fitzgerald acting in money laundering scheme linking JP Morgan Russian hedge funds. Documented proof showing money laundering Ponzi schemes by Lutnick via offshore shell companies. Liquid funding in real estate brokerage firms. Redacted name is using a global Ponzi share scheme involving 3,500 BGC employees who were forced to contribute 10% of their earnings into the scheme. It goes on to say how Lutnick is deeply rooted to the royal family, which makes sense because in the third screenshot documents I attached, you can see David Stern, longtime aide to Prince Andrew, asking Epstein if he has seen the Kendra Fitzgerald proposal. This is the guy managing Tether's billions. In November 2024, Cantor Fitzgerald negotiated a 5% ownership interest in Tether. Lutnick's sons now run Cantor as he is Secretary of Commerce of the United States. Bo Hines leaves his government crypto role to become CEO of Tether's new USAT. So, and this is the pictures of the complaints, okay? So I'm not going to read through all this, okay, but that's interesting, right? It's so okay, I have one more question. So because I don't want to, like, I know guys, for you it's really could be really a lot, but it's so important. And it's a yes, he was an abuser in addition to all of this. But the key, but as far as the organized crime organization is concerned, he is a big person because he manages the money laundering. So that's why his downfall is substantial, very substantial. So, and of course, that's why he was picked to be in this administration, because it's saying people are focusing a lot on the crimes committed against the girls. Yes, that is terrible. But you have to think of it as a giant criminal organization, and a criminal organization needs to launder money. And this is just as important for them, right? So, wow, it's really mind boggling. It's a yes. And I see it tells me that he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life. He can't come out. But why? It's interesting. I don't see him passing because truly he's saying that he's kept in a secure place. And not even his family knows where he is once it happens. Wow. So, yeah, wow, it's crazy. So, I'm going to stop here, guys, because it's really intense. All right. So, I'm going to stop. I'm going to add subtitles. I know some of you don't like it, but I think there's a lot of people that have um, hearing issues. I've heard from them. They seem to really appreciate it. And then also it's actually helpful for me because when I'm editing the video, then I can see, does it make sense? I want to put titles, subtitles, especially in a subject as complex as this. Okay, so, all right. Okay, so thank you for watching and see you soon. I think I might do another video after this one, but let's see. Okay, all right.